Welcome back to my channel, and today I will tell you how you can convert your black and white images into color images. So first of all, we have to identify the areas where we have to work. So let me create a new layer, and then let's select a bright brush, maybe a blue colored. Make sure it's hard, 100%. And the face, the skin tones are the first things, then her sweater, and then her hair. That is the third thing. And then the background, and background we will think about at the end of this tutorial. So for these three areas, we need a reference image. So for her skin tone, I have one reference image. So let me show you. This is my reference image. So it looks quite similar to what we have here. What we can do, we can use this reference image and sample from our reference image to paint the skin tones in the image we are working in. So let me show you what I want to do. So let's select the brush tool, make a new layer, and let's call it skin. So I will sample, let me zoom in on my reference image, and I will sample from her skin and paint on the image where I want it to appear. So let's make it a bit lighter, because I believe her skin tone must be lighter, because on grayscale images, if something is appearing to be lighter on the gray shade, it means that is lighter in your colored image. So let's change the blending mode of our skin layer to color, and then select very soft brush, and let's change the flow to 10%, and we can start painting on our subject. But I think it's very light, so what we can do, we can change the flow to 50%, and then we can paint on all the skin. So at the moment it does not seem very good. No issues, just keep painting. And make sure you're painting inside the glasses as well. And try to retain the similar a similar kind of opacity of the skin. So this is how we have painted, but obviously it looks way off. So let's paint a bit more on the forehead. And now we can use our eraser tool to erase those areas where we have the spill. For example, yeah, in front of the forehead. And there are many areas, so you need to paint them out. So we can apply one hue saturation layer to change the color and reduce some saturation of the color because it is very strong at the moment. So let me reduce the saturation, and then we can change the hue to change the color of basically change the color of what we have painted. So you can use it as a clipping mask. Press alt, and when this arrow appears, just click on this layer. So you can see a little before and after. So we can always come back to this layer, but you can see that it looks a bit better. So I think I have just missed this area, so let me brush here as well with the same with the same flow and the same color, so we can paint on all these areas as well. So the next thing is the color of her sweater. So for that I have another image as well. So let me add another layer to do this work. So here's our reference image. This color is very light, but the texture I have here on this sweater is the one I'm looking for. So we can always use a darker brown because, as you can see on the grayscale image, that the color of her sweater is quite dark. So we will repeat the same procedure on this new layer, which I named sweater. I'm going to paint with brown color that I will sample from the sweater of my reference image. So let me sample a color from here, which is quite dark, but still I can go to my color sampler and make it a bit darker as well. As you can see, it does not seem very good, so let me change the color. So I will select something brown, but quite dark brown, because it is obvious from the image that it is quite a dark brown color. So change the layer mode to color and paint over all the sweater. You can choose any dark colors, but I have chosen brown and I will change it later. I will show you how you can change the color. We will use that hue saturation layer to change the color and saturation. So let me just paint on whole sweater and make sure that there are no spills. So we can just uncheck our reference image and put one hue saturation layer to change the and clip it to the layer sweater using the same method. Press alt, and when this arrow appears, just click on the layer. Now we can change the hue. Let me select where I like it the more, and we can increase the saturation to our liking. Okay, now since we have worked on the skin tone and the sweater, it's time to work on the hair. So I've already done some work on here. So basically what I did, I made two layers for the black hair and the gray hair. For black hair, I have used the color burn, and for the gray hair, I have used the color dodge as the blending modes. And then I painted with black, or you can say darker gray, on my layer 3, which is for the dark hairs. And I painted with white color on layer 4, which is my um, lighter hair mode, sorry, lighter hair layer. And I changed it. So you can see these are the areas where I have worked on layer 4, and then I can control and press on layer 3 to show you, okay, these are the areas where I have worked on the um, darker hair. So this really gives it a look of something is being worked under the flash. And since this is very strong and harsh light, so it's not easy to get the color out of our hair, but still we have applied this layer, and we made sure that, okay, we are not using so much opacity, like maybe 42% or 40% on overall. And then on the layers I also have very low opacity. So now we can group these layers. These are our extras, these four layers. Let's rename it extras. Okay, so far so good. We have bring the color in our image, but we need to work on our background as well. So we can merge these visible layers by pressing Ctrl Shift Alt and Ctrl Shift Alt and E together. And let's make a quick selection around the subject, because we want to add the color in the background. So we need to separate our subject so that we can overlay it to our background color. So pen tool is a very useful tool to do the same. And once you're done, just press Ctrl and Enter on your key to make this selection, and Ctrl J to move it to a separate layer. So you can see, okay, this is what we have on this layer. So now we can add one more layer by pressing Ctrl Shift Alt and N together, and paint it with the color that we want as our background color. And make sure you have moved your subject above the layer where you want to paint your background. So let's select one blue color. It should be light, it should not be very dark, because you can see on the grayscale it looks quite light. So we need to paint all these areas, and then we will change the blending mode of this layer to color, and let's decrease the opacity of this layer to maybe around 30% or something. So this is the final product. We can call it the background layer, and make sure you subscribe to my channel for more beautiful tutorials, easy tutorials on Photoshop, on Lightroom, Snapseed, Filmora, and photography. So I hope that you enjoyed this lecture. Do subscribe, like, and share with others so that they can also learn from here. So this is a before, and the after.